Hello and welcome. We're from Back to Your Roots Herbs, and we're glad you're joining us today.
Yes, welcome. We know lots of you are interested in natural ways to support your health.
And today, we're excited to talk about a really fascinating mushroom.
It really is. It's one that's been getting a lot of buzz in wellness circles. And, well, for some compelling reasons.
Absolutely. We're discussing Agaricus blazei today.
hmm
You might have heard of it as the almond mushroom. Apparently, it has a bit of an almond scent.
That's right. Or maybe Hamatsutake, particularly if you're familiar with Japanese research.
And in Brazil, where it originally gained attention, had some really evocative names. Cogumelo do Sol, mushroom of the sun.
Yeah, or Cogumelo de Deus, mushroom of God, Cogumelo de Vida, mushroom of life. Royal Sun Agaricus is another one.
It really shows the kind of global recognition it has and the benefits people associate with it.
Definitely. Those names tell a story, don't they? Especially the Brazilian ones, hinting at that traditional respect for its properties.
So its story starts in Piedade, a highland area in São Paulo, Brazil.
Right. And what's interesting is how it went from this sort of local knowledge to grabbing international attention.
It was observations about the health of the locals there, wasn't it? That's sparked the initial scientific interest.
Exactly. People noticed the general vitality, the longevity in the community that consumed it regularly. That led to researchers, especially in Japan, taking a much closer look.
Okay, so our goal today is really to explore what the science and tradition tell us about the benefits of Agaricus blazei.
Sounds good. Where should we start?
Let's begin with something fundamental. The immune system. This seems to be a major focus of the research.
It really is. There's a considerable amount of research looking at its immunomodulatory activities. That just means how it influences the immune system.
Right, and it works mainly by supporting our own defenses, is that correct?
That's the key finding, yeah. It primarily seems to stimulate the host's immune system rather than acting like, say, an antibiotic.
Okay, so how does it do that? Which parts of the immune system does it interact with?
Well, studies show it activates several key players in our innate immunity, the body's first responders.
Like,
Things like macrophages, monocytes, neutrophils, and importantly, natural killer cells, NK cells, dendritic cells too.
and what happens when these cells get activated by Agaricus blazei? What do they do differently?
They basically get better at their jobs. Macrophages and neutrophils, for instance, show enhanced phagocytosis.
So they're better at gobbling up invaders and debris.
Exactly. And NK cells become more cytotoxic. They're more effective at identifying and destroying infected cells or tumor cells.
Wow, okay. And dendritic cells.
They improve their ability to present antigens, which is crucial for initiating a more targeted adaptive immune response, like sounding the alarm more effectively.
So it's really boosting the activity of these frontline defenders. I
Mhm.
also read something about cytokines, signaling molecules.
Yes, that's another critical part. Agaricus blazei seems to induce the production of various cytokines.
Which ones are we talking about?
Things like TNF alpha, IL-1 beta, IL-6, IL-8, IL-12, and interferon gamma. These are all signals that help coordinate the immune response, recruit other cells, and direct the fight.
So better soldiers and better communication between them? What about the Th1, Th2 balance? That sounds important.
It is. Maintaining that balance is crucial for appropriate immune responses. An imbalance can lead to problems. Agaricus blazei shows potential in helping to modulate this balance, sort of fine-tuning the overall immune strategy.
Making the system more adaptable, maybe.
That's a good way to think about it, yeah. Helping it respond appropriately to whatever challenge it's facing.
And we know what in the mushroom is causing these effects, right?
Well, the research points strongly towards beta-glucans. These are complex polysaccharides.
Okay.
They act as ligands, like keys that bind to specific pattern recognition receptors on immune cells. Dectin-1 is one, complement receptor 3 is another.
So the beta-glucans dock onto the immune cells and switch them on.
Essentially, yes. That binding triggers signaling inside the cell, leading to activation and those enhanced functions we talked about.
And this isn't just theory, is it? There are human studies.
Yes, thankfully. There was one study involving women with gynecological cancer undergoing chemotherapy. Taking an Agaricus blazei extract was associated with improved NK cell activity, which is significant, but also, importantly, improvements in their quality of life during treatment.
That's really meaningful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Supporting well-being during such a difficult time.
Absolutely. It highlights that potential for real-world support.
Were there other human studies looking at immunity?
There was another one with multiple myeloma patients undergoing stem cell transplants.
Right?
Giving them an Agaricus blazei-based product led to observed changes in the percentages of certain immune cells and cytokine levels. It suggests an influence even when the immune system is under significant stress.
And something about antibodies, too.
Uh-huh. Another study showed that even just taking beta-glucans from Agaricus blazei orally could induce an antibody response to the beta-glucan itself in humans.
So multiple lines of evidence showing it interacts with and boosts our immune function.
It certainly seems that way. It's quite compelling how this mushroom can potentially act as an ally for our immune system.
It really makes you appreciate what nature offers.
Hmm.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit, though it's related. Let's talk about the potential anti-tumor or anti-cancer effects. This is a big reason for its popularity, I believe.
It definitely is, and it's a very active area of research. It's crucial, though, to be clear about the state of the evidence here.
Of course. So, what are researchers finding? How might it work against cancer?
Well, it seems to be potentially a two-pronged approach. First, the indirect effects through immune modulation we just discussed.
Right, strengthening the immune system so it can better target cancer cells itself.
Exactly. A more vigilant immune system might be better equipped to recognize and eliminate cancerous or precancerous cells.
Okay, that makes sense. What about more direct effects?
There's also preclinical evidence suggesting direct actions. For example, some compounds in Agaricus blazei, like ergosterol and sodium pyroglutamate, have shown anti-angiogenic activity in lab studies.
Anti-angiogenic. That means stopping new blood vessels from forming.
Precisely. Tumors need to create new blood vessels to get nutrients and grow. Inhibiting that process could, theoretically, starve the tumor or slow its growth.
That's a fascinating mechanism. Does it also seem to directly harm cancer cells in studies?
Yes, there's evidence from lab research in vitro and some animal studies that extracts and specific compounds can induce direct cytotoxicity, meaning they kill cancer cells and also apoptosis.
Apoptosis.
Yeah,
Programmed cell death. Right?
exactly. Triggering that natural self-destruct sequence in cancer cells. Mechanisms seem to involve things like activating caspase enzymes, which drive apoptosis, and interfering with signaling pathways that cancer cells use to survive and multiply.
And which specific compounds are implicated here?
Again, polysaccharides like beta-glucans play a role, but also others like agaritine, which showed activity against leukemia cells in vitro. There's blazine, agarol, blaseperol A. Several compounds are being investigated.
So, quite a chemical arsenal, potentially.
Mhm.
What kinds of cancer cells have shown sensitivity in lab tests?
Oh, quite a range. In vitro studies have shown inhibitory effects on cell lines from leukemia, sarcoma, ovarian cancer, lung, prostate, liver, myeloma, colon, melanoma, breast cancer, many different types.
That's a broad spectrum in the lab. Has this been seen in animal models too?
Yes, various in vivo animal studies have reported tumor growth inhibition and sometimes increased survival rates in models using different types of induced cancers. This preclinical data is definitely a key driver for ongoing research.
Now, you mentioned the human study on NK cells in cancer patients earlier. Is there much human clinical trial data specifically looking at tumor shrinkage or survival as the primary outcome?
That's where we need to be cautious. The direct clinical evidence for significant anti-cancer efficacy in humans, like shrinking tumors or extending survival based on large trials, is still quite limited.
Okay.
The studies showing immune benefits and improved quality of life are encouraging, certainly, but we don't yet have those definitive large-scale human trials proving it as a standalone cancer treatment.
So a lot of promise in the preclinical work and some supportive human data, but more robust clinical trials are definitely needed.
Exactly. It's important to maintain that balanced perspective. The potential is there, the research is exciting, but we're not at the point of proven clinical efficacy for treating cancer in humans yet.
Understood. That's a very important distinction. Okay, let's pivot to another area. Potential anti-diabetic benefits.
Right. This connects back to its traditional use in Brazil, where it was apparently used for diabetes management.
Interesting. So what does the modern research say about its effects on blood sugar and insulin?
Several studies suggest it can improve insulin sensitivity and reduce insulin resistance. These are, of course, major factors in type 2 diabetes.
How might it be doing that?
Well, extracts, and again, the beta-glucans have been shown to lower blood glucose levels in various study models.
So a direct effect on blood sugar.
It appears so. Potential mechanisms include perhaps enhancing insulin secretion from the pancreas, maybe inhibiting alpha-glucosidase.
That's an enzyme that breaks down carbs.
Okay.
Slowing that down would slow glucose absorption.
Exactly. And also possibly modulating levels of adiponectin.
Adiponectin.
It's a hormone involved in regulating glucose levels and fatty acid breakdown. Better adiponectin function is generally linked to better metabolic health.
So, multiple potential ways it could help with blood sugar control. Have animal studies back this up?
Yes, studies in diabetic rats and mice have shown reductions in blood glucose levels and also improvements in lipid profiles, things like cholesterol and triglycerides, when given Agaricus blazei extracts.
And what about people? Any human trials?
Yes, there's a notable one, a clinical trial with individuals who already had type 2 diabetes.
Okay.
They took an Agaricus blazei extract alongside their regular medication. The results showed a significant improvement in insulin resistance, measured using something called the ARMA-IR index.
That sounds promising.
It was.
Yeah.
And they also saw an increase in their adiponectin levels. This suggests it could be a useful addition for people managing type 2 diabetes.
Very interesting. A potential complementary approach. Anything else in humans?
There was also a study in healthy individuals which found reduced glucose levels after taking it, along with some positive effects on weight and cholesterol.
So, hints of metabolic benefits even in healthy people. It's quite heartening, really, the idea that this mushroom could offer support for those managing blood sugar.
It really is. It shows how natural compounds might play a supportive role in complex conditions.
Okay, one more major area to cover. Antioxidant properties. This seems relevant to overall health and aging.
Absolutely. Oxidative stress, caused by an imbalance between free radicals and antioxidants, is linked to so many chronic health issues and the aging process itself. Agaricus blazei shows notable antioxidant activity.
How does it fight oxidative stress? What are the mechanisms?
It seems to work in a few ways. Compounds within it, like polysaccharides and phenolics, can directly scavenge free radicals, neutralizing them before they cause damage.
Okay, direct cleanup crew.
Kind of, yeah. It also seems to inhibit lipid peroxidation, that's a damaging chain reaction affecting cell membranes. And importantly, it might also boost our own internal antioxidant enzyme systems.
Like SOD and GPX, superoxide dismutase, and glutathione peroxidase.
Exactly. Enhancing our body's natural defenses against oxidative damage.
So it provides antioxidants and helps our body make better use of its own.
Yeah.
Have studies confirmed this?
Yes. Lots of in vitro lab tests show its extracts and fractions can scavenge free radicals.
And in living systems?
In vivo, animal studies have shown protective effects, for instance, protecting the liver and brain from chemically induced oxidative stress.
That's significant, showing protection in vital organs.
Definitely. And another study, this one in quail, found that supplementing with Agaricus blazei polysaccharide increased the levels of antioxidant markers in their blood serum.
It really seems to have a comprehensive antioxidant effect. Is this down to one specific compound again?
Likely not. It's probably a combination effect. Agaricus blazei contains various antioxidant compounds: phenolics, flavonoids, tocopherols, vitamin E, ergothioneine, even some ascorbic acid, vitamin C. It's the synergy of these working together.
Okay, so we've covered quite a bit. Immune support, potential anti-cancer actions, anti-diabetic possibilities, antioxidant power. Are there any other areas, maybe briefly? What about liver health? I recall seeing conflicting things there.
That's a good point. It's complex. While most research points towards benefits, including some studies suggesting liver protection against certain types of injury, there have been a few isolated reports raising concerns about potential liver issues in specific contexts. So, while generally seen as supportive, it's an area where maybe more specific research is needed, especially regarding dosage and individual factors. For now, the bulk of evidence leans towards protective effects, particularly against oxidative stress in the liver.
Okay, good to have that balanced view. So overall, Agaricus blazei really presents a fascinating array of potential health benefits.
It really does. From foundational immune support to metabolic aspects and cellular protection, the research is certainly compelling.
Absolutely. Now, of course, while this research is exciting and ongoing, we want to emphasize that this discussion is for educational purposes.
Yes, it's definitely not intended as medical advice. Always consult with your healthcare provider for any health concerns or before making changes to your regimen.
Right. But we hope this exploration encourages you to learn more and consider how natural elements like Agaricus blazei might fit into a holistic approach to well-being.
If you'd like to explore further, you can visit our website.
Yes, please check us out at www.backtoyourrootsherbs.com. We also have a direct link for Agaricus blazei mushroom specifically in the description below this recording.
Take a look, learn more, and see if it resonates with your wellness journey.
Thank you so much for tuning in today and exploring this remarkable mushroom with us.
Yes, thanks for listening. We hope you found it valuable.
Until next time, stay well and keep exploring the power of nature.